Stolpersteine. Tips and tricks for the Goethe-Zertifikatsprüfungen from A1 to C2. Hello and good day. Guten Tag und Hallo. Today I want to look at, just very briefly, at one of the most frustrating things when you learn a European language, in particular German. That's the concept of gender with nouns, for example. Der Löffel, die Gabel, das Messer. So, masculine, der Löffel, die Gabel, feminine, and neuter, das Messer. Now, those categories are a little bit misleading because grammar-wise, of course, gender, as in our common understanding, has got nothing to do with it because we are not looking underneath, hey, that's not male. It is a grammatical concept that derived from, well, many languages ago, before Germanic was even born, when people looked at the state of being animate or inanimate. Out of there was the label generated masculine for animate and inanimate, neuter. And later on, feminine was further developed to describe nouns that came out of these two concepts and further led to abstract understanding. Now, that's sort of more of a linguistic venture, briefly, but it might help to understand that sometimes understanding's got nothing to do with it, but the sheer learning, even rote learning of some of the words, the nouns that you're dealing with. But it might help to see that some of the sort of the standard gender at the very, very beginning, before Germanic was Germanic, it was actually the masculine gender that was the basic of all genders. Again, remember, it's nothing to do with being male, but the state of being animate. And neuter described more the content or the result of concrete action. And whereas feminine then were derivations of these complex relationships as well as complex nouns and ideas. Anyway, going back to our der Löffel, die Gabel, das Messer. What can we do? Now let me tell you a little story about a lie, and I call it the yogurt lie, because I'm a native speaker of German, and I am from Germany, from Bielefeld near Hanover. In my family, we used to call yogurt die Joghurt. Die Joghurt. But looking it up in the Duden, sort of the equivalent to the Oxford Dictionary, we find that yogurt is mostly der Joghurt, but in Austria it might be rarely used as die Joghurt. So I don't know, where is that coming from? What does it all mean? I'm native speaker and my family used it with die Joghurt, and I'm sure my neighborhood used die Joghurt, and suddenly we are wrong. Actually, it tells you that languages are very much alive. Nowadays, with the modes of communication and more creative use of language, far more people have direct influence, and there's a greater transparency how languages are now formed and renegotiated. Famous examples nowadays are chillaxing and being hangry. Hungry and angry. Really nice word, because I'm often very hangry because, angry when hungry. Same thing applies, and you see that very often in German when you have new words coming up. Whereas linguists claim that, funnily enough, when they borrow or when they start taking over words from English, they will go back to the standard gender, remember, standard category of masculine. I would refute that. For example, male. And it shows you it's a matter of how people are using it. So email very often is used as die Mail or das email. Now, where does that come from? I guess more of the usability as well as the sound that lends to a certain gender, and whether people adopt that and carry it forward. Enough into an excursion into linguistics or social linguistics or the history of my family. So certain endings give an indication what gender is attributed to, or what category is attributed to that noun. So most effectively are the ones for feminine. They have the gender, they have the endings, the endings of Heit, Keit, Schaft, Zion, et or tet, a, I, in, ine, öse oder auch I. Now, that's a very good one, the last letter, the E one, because that's very common. It's not 100% guarantee that there is feminine, but if you really have to guess, and the sound with it, feminine is usually a good bet. However, the Heit, Keit, Schaft, Meinung, Freiheit, Wirtschaft, they are dead given feminine. For neuter, we likewise have very limited but effective diminutives that are marked by chen. They are always neuter. So die Nase, nose, die Nase can be turned into a little nose, Näschen. The house can be turned into a little house, das Häuschen. And another good thing is that verbs turned into nouns are always neuter. So I'm eating, essen turns into das Essen. Or an adjective, gut, will be turned into das Gute. Whereas another one is heute, the today, the life of today, das heute. Although, when do I use das heute? Anyway, hopefully that helps. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Dankeschön und tschüss.